This week, we're joined by our all-around savage, Justin Governale. Justin Governale is a former Marine scout sniper, a combat veteran, won the Purple Heart, all right? And not only that, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, professional MMA fighter, and now a comedian. Really inspirational story today, guys. We're really lucky that we got the time from Justin to share his story with us on the Honey Badger Hour podcast. I found out through Justin, actually, through my best friend Luke, that passed away earlier this year. And we both knew Luke in different parts of our life. So this episode really holds dear to my heart. I really enjoyed speaking with Justin and really enjoyed finding a fellow fighter, comedian, and we also have my best friend as a mutual friend in common. So a lot of gems in this episode. Justin Governale has had a hell of a story, just an all-around badass of a human, and I really enjoyed this one. So you guys enjoy. Make sure to give Justin Governale a follow on Instagram. And if you guys want teas, make sure to follow me at Honey Badger Hour on Instagram. Shoot me a DM, and we'll get these shirts to you out ASAP. If not, stay tuned. honeybadgerlifestyle.com. The website is currently in progress, so we're doing our best, you know what I'm saying, to get the best everything out to you guys. I'm a one-man operation, so little by slowly, we're going to keep growing, keep getting bigger. I appreciate the love, y'all. Episode 84. Let's go!
Emilio, the Honey Badger, Urrutia!
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Honey Badger Hour. This episode of the Honey Badger Hour podcast is brought to you by the original Clippers Barbershop.
I am from Laredo, Texas.
Oh my God. Is that shit like they're saying on the news is really bad right now? Like it's crazy like at the border and stuff like this? Like people coming through or what?
I don't know, to be honest, because I'm in San Antonio. I'm from Laredo. I have a buddy of mine that I was in the Marine Corps with that goes to Juarez all the time. The Juarez, right? He's crazy. He's taught himself Spanish. He got a Mexican chick pregnant, had a kid with her, got married, got a divorce. And but he goes to Juarez, and I called him the other day. We just randomly, it's been years, dude, since we got out, and we still talk like all the time. He's always going to Juarez. And I'm like, oh, is it really like, how is it down there? And he's like, I mean, there's camps, but he's like, for sure there's camps and it's a little crazy, but he's like, it's a little exaggerated, like.
Yeah, for sure, man. Damn, so when did you move to California? You went like after the military and stuff, or?
I joined the Marines at 18 when I signed up. I was 18, left Laredo, Texas, went to California, did my 4 years in the Marine Corps, got out, moved to Afghanistan for 2 years contracting, and then quit my job in Afghanistan because I wanted to fight, moved to Thailand, booked a one-way ticket to Thailand, was there 6 months, and I had like 2 fights in Thailand, and then that's where it kind of started. And then I got out, tried to move to Texas, didn't work, threw all my belongings in my vehicle. I drove to California, lived there for like a decade. And then after that, I offered, oddly enough, like 2 hours from my hometown in San Antonio, Texas. So they're like, you have to quit your job. If you want this job, you have to quit your job tomorrow and move to Texas in 2 weeks. Take it or leave it. And I was like, let's go.
What kind of job?
Marketing, dude. I work.
Hey, for real? Civilian job, bro.
Hi.
That's crazy.
Dude, I worked for Black Rifle Coffee for several years. Right. Dope company. And then I got another offer to...
Oh, Black Rifle Coffee. Yeah, I've heard about this one. Oh, that's cool. What'd you do there?
I was on their paid media team, right? There was, at the time, I don't know how it's structured now, as I've been gone like 8 months or so. But at the time, I moved to Texas, and their place of business was an Airbnb, right? Like that was show up to work. They were renting a house for like $6,000 a month or whatever it is for Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it was like a big house. We called it Grandma's house because there was like some old woman that owned it, and she would occasionally come in, check on it, and leave. And so we called it Grandma's house. And that was like, we'd hold all of our meetings in like one of the bedrooms. Like we put a table in there, and that's how we started. And then like 4.5 years later, they sold. I wanted to say we sold. They sold for 1.7 billion. They went public, right? So it was just dope. Like I saw the whole evolution, and they're still evolving, right? But after they went public, I just personally decided to move on, and now I work. I'm not gonna say my employer just because I'm probably gonna say some incriminating or right. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can find it on my LinkedIn. Really care, but yeah, man. Now I work in paid advertising, and I make ads on, or I manage ad campaigns on search in multiple countries. And I like talk to this computer language. We're about to get into, but like I talk to this computer, like a database, and it pulls information, and I just have to look at the information and make decisions based off that. Managing like millions of dollars a month, and it's dope. But on the same note, dude, I was in the Marine Corps. I was a scout sniper. I do comedy, right? I do all the things, man. And it's interesting because I'm on these calls, and I do stand up now, right? And like one of my bits is on working where I work, because they're like, say a fun fact about yourself, and then they're like, oh, my fun fact is that let's see, I used to have 3 cats, and my wife didn't like them at first, but now we have 4 cats because she loves them now. And they're like, wow, thanks for sharing, Enrique, right? And they're like, your turn. And I'm like shaking like all the things that I've done. And I'm like, I know what I want to say, right? I know what I should say. And then I'm like, fun fact, in 2007, I was accused of war crimes. Right. And like I have a whole bit on it, and but I don't say that. I protect myself, and I'm like, fun fact, I'm colorblind, disabled, I have a disability. No, you can't fire me, right? I'm colorblind. Yeah, I'm colorblind, and my mother's from Mexico. Now I'm ethnic, dude. Now you're not firing me at all.
Now you're a minority. You're chilling, dog. Yeah, a minority, disabled. A disabled minority? Are you kidding me? You
got and I'm a Marine, dude. So like I'm autistic. So we're set.
Oh, you get a raise. You get a 2%. Yeah. My man, yo. So you joined. I think we're probably about, how old are you now?
37, dude.
Yeah, we're the same age. So I was thinking, damn, dog. You signed up to Iraq just when I was thinking about it, bro. All my friends went to and I graduated in 2004, and like half my friends, they went to the military. They went to and I had a lot of friends go overseas, bro, for the Army and the Marines. But I remember at that age, when I was in high school, getting recruited, like, and like all the recruiters there, and this is like right after 9/11. It was like, yo, so you got deployed right smack in the middle of it, huh?
2005, man. I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background. Can you hear my dog?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, this little stupid. Don't do it, Rona. Don't. I will drown you on this podcast in front of all these people. Anyway, okay, she listens, see?
There you go.
Yeah, dude, I joined 2003, actually. I signed up. I was a junior in high school, and I was like, I want to go fight. I want to go fight in the war. And I deployed 1 year to the date that I left for boot camp. Like, I left for boot camp September 6th, 2004. September 6th, 2005, I'm landing in Iraq. And 19, dude, and my first patrol I ever did, I was like, I've said this story multiple times, right? But first patrol I ever did, like, it's crazy. You have this perception because you're a kid, dude. You're a kid. You remember playing cops and robbers or whatever. And like, I remember I used to, like, people would go bang, 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 like whenever we pretend to shoot each other. But I was like, no, it doesn't look real. You got to use this finger so it looks like you're pulling the trigger on a gun. So I would be like, bam, 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 bam. So like, this is a weird ADHD moment, but like the carnival, they used to have like a rifle that like you can't move it, and like you used to shoot plates. And I remember when I put my finger on it, I put my finger like this, and it ejects right here. Because nobody taught me how to shoot rifles growing up, and so my finger was right over like where the round ejects. Is your podcast monetized?
What do you mean? Like, I don't know.
You can just edit this out. Or, point being, like, I used to go bam, bam, and then that's how I learned. Like, oh, you use your trigger finger, but
I didn't even know that was a trigger finger, dog. I thought it was this. I never shot a gun.
It's your trigger finger, like, but
that is your trigger finger.
Yeah, but when I was a little kid, I would play. What I'm saying is, like, you're a little kid, and you're like,
you're going like this. Oh, yeah.
So like, it looks more realistic. And then the first time I fired a rifle was at a carnival, and it was like aimed in at plates. Like, you can only go a certain way. And I was like, bam! And I was like, oh! And I put my hand in my mouth, right? But I was a little kid. Anyway, point being, when you're a little kid, you're playing like cops and robbers and doing all the playing war and all that stuff. And then you're still kind of a kid. If you think about it, I was 17 years old when I signed up for the Marine Corps. I literally was 17, teenager. I deployed at 19. I was a kid still. And so my first patrol I ever did, we were like going over a hill or like a bridge. And the guys that we were relieving, they do like a couple patrols with you. It's my first patrol I ever did. And they're like, you ready? You ready? And I was like, ready. And then we passed this bridge and they go, never mind. And then when they said, never mind, like an explosion goes off, boom, it's kind of by our truck. And then our vehicle stops and another one gets closer, boom. And the third one's like, boom. And then my team leader's like, or my squad leader's like, what are you doing? Why are you stopping? You like to the guy driving. He's like, drive, we're getting mortared, right? And oddly enough, he's also Cuban, right? So that's why he talks like this, you know? And so he, I remember being like, whoa, and I like sank in my little wooden seat. We built seats out of wood, and our floors were lined with sandbags. We filled sandbags before the patrol, like armor. We draped packs over the side. We literally didn't have any armor, right? And so we drive over the hill, and the guy that told us, are you ready? Was like, oh, never mind, they're just late today. And I'm like, whoa, like, what is this? Been on patrol for like less than an hour. And then the guy that was next to me, he'd already been, it was his second deployment in Iraq. He's like 20 years old. And he's like, welcome to Iraq, Governor. And he slaps my leg, like slap. And I remember being like, the little sheet of armor that we had, I remember just being like, and I just sank a little lower into it. And then like hours and hours, nothing can happen. It was so boring. So to my point, I'm a child still. And everybody that's already been to combat is just sitting like complacent on the patrol. And I had my weapon draped over, and I was just looking into the desert, like, where's it going to be with my proper trigger finger, right? And I'm like, where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? And all the guys that had been there were like making fun of me. And they're like, Governor, what the fuck are you doing? Calm down. And I was like, I'm motivated. I'm ready. So I was always so motivated. And like hours of nothing. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, it's actually kind of boring, to be honest. And like, it's not that bad. And then I fucking set my rifle down on like the truck, and like right when I relaxed a little bit, just fucking blacked out, dude. And I fucking woke up, and like my buddy next to me is seizuring, and like all the things, like he's fine today, right? And then my team leader's like, Governor, fucking get the fuck out, the truck's gonna blow. And I'm like, green's hit. They're like, shut up. And that's my first patrol I ever did, and I earned a cheesy Purple Heart because nothing really happened. I just had like blood coming out of my ear a little bit, right? And fucking I got a Purple Heart for it in my very first patrol. So it's funny, right? I have this perception of like, yeah, fucking war. Yeah. Like cops and robbers, you know, you're little kids, and I'm a child, 17, I'm a teenager. And then you're like, boom. And then like you wake up and you're like looking at your friend seizuring, and you're like, fuck, thinking he's going to die, right? He's like bleeding out of his nose and mouth. And I'm like, green's hit. And my first thought is like, damn, I really just started liking that guy too. Like that was my first thought, because they switched me into a different platoon last minute before we deployed, or switched him into whatever. And so I remember looking at him and being like, damn, that sucks. Like I just really started liking that guy, and I thought he was going to die. And they're like, get the fuck out. And then my team leader ran over, and he's like, Governor, look at me. And he literally said, hey, look at me, motherfucker. And he had already been to Iraq. He's like, because I'm like, whoa, dog. And he's like, look at me. I can't have you be a little booty boot right now, okay? Which means you're a boot. Like they call you boot, like you're worthless. And he goes, you're not a booty boot right now, okay, Governor? I need you to be a fucking man. Do you understand me? And I was like, all right, Corporal. And he's like, all right, fucking like point your weapon that way. And I remember I was like, Corporal, they're looking at us on the hill. And he's like, how far are those vehicles, Governor? And I was like, 1,600 meters. And he's like, oh, what's the max effective range of your service rifle? And I was like, 800 meters, Corporal. He's like, no shit, huh? Fucking idiot. Fucking no shit, they're watching us. You fucking dumbass. Keep watching them. Fucking boot. And then he runs off. And I'm like, I'm 19. Like, I'm a teen. What?
Yeah.
And that was my first experience, man. And then it was kind of like quiet the rest of the deployment. I mean, I still got blown up 2 more times. Got like small exchanges and stuff. But I was a kid, man. I was a fucking kid. And it's crazy because, like, I don't know, like you're dark because of like in my humor, right? I'm pretty fucking dark, and I don't know, it's not for everybody, and vice versa, right? But you start learning through like comedy, like you have to be somewhat PC still to a point, right? There's
you do. Unless you're in a comedy club where they pay for it and they want to see comedy. But if you're doing bar shows and stuff, you know, I think you gotta be a little bit more careful right now.
Yeah. Well, even the paid, what I'm realizing, like on the paid shows, you can't just go out and say certain words, right? Of course.
Nah, and then there's people listening, bro, and then like there's like a little unsigned thing that you gotta like kind of there's like unsigned rules I'm noticing in this game that you gotta follow, and like bookers won't put, you know, it's a weird game, dog.
Yeah, it's
It's
politics.
a lot of politics.
Yeah.
Bro, that's crazy, man. In Iraq, yo, I lost a close friend of mine, bro, in high school, and he was fucking not even. I was still 18. Yo, he must have been 19 years old. You know, he died in 2005. Same thing, in that crazy ass spot, bro. He went to Afghanistan, Iraq. He got deployed. Fallujah. He did his first tour. He came back. We're having beers in my backyard, and we're hanging out. And he's like, yo. He was convinced, bro. It's kind of fucked up. He was like, yo, he's like, I'm not coming back if I go back to that place, Fallujah. You know, that's where he died. That's where he passed away. Same thing, IED, or the mortars, right?
IED is
IEDs.
Like under the vehicle blows up. Mortars are like, they just shoot him at
I'm sorry. So yeah, he got hit with an IED, bro. And it's crazy, because like you said, bro, he couldn't even, it was a fucking child, bro. He couldn't even buy alcohol. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I remember I got back.
Bro.
I got back from Iraq. And it's funny, right? Like in hindsight, it's different. I still love the Marine Corps. I respect the shit out of it. Right? Just different time in my life, man. I'm glad I got out. I'm content with the decision I made. You know, as I've had a whole fucking life since, man. And you know, kudos to the dudes that stayed in. It's hard, heavy shit. But like, yeah, I remember I got back, and looking back at the time, I used to say shit like, "I'm a fucking man, dude. Like, I'm a man," and people would be like I hit on my cousin's older friend when I was like, how old was I? Like 20, 21? No. I was like 22. Just got out of the Marines, and my cousin had a hot friend that was like 38, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for it. And then she, when I was like hitting on her, she looked at me and flat out was like, "You're just Justin. You're a kid. Like this like get it out of your head. You're a kid." And she called me a kid, and I just started projecting like. I'd already been through 2 deployments to Iraq. I'd been investigated for some bullshit. I'd been fucking blown up 3 times. And she called me a kid. And I am a kid. You're 22. You're a fucking kid still. You don't know what the fuck you're doing in life, right? And I acted like a kid. I was like what? What the fuck? Be a fucking war. Fucking, like fucking, what if the guys you date, what if they done? They never been blown. And she's like, oh, wow. Okay, you're really showing your fucking kid right now, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So, but, I'm 37 now, and looking back, I was a kid, and maybe, I don't know, in 10 years, I look back and I call myself a kid at 37, but no, fuck no, you're a man at 37. But like, I was 20 and I got back from Iraq like that day, and I was like so happy to be back. And for some reason, my mom's like, where do you want to eat? Well, what does a 20-year-old say? Fucking Hooters, right? And so I go to Hooters, and everybody's ordering their food, and like my family came and they welcomed me back from Iraq, and I'm just so fucking happy to be home. And then the waitress asked what I want to drink. So I was like, can I get a Bud Light? Because I love trannies now. I was like, can I, I tried to order a beer. I don't remember what kind of beer. And she's like, oh, can I see some ID? I was like, oh, I don't have it on me. And then they say, you know, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't serve you. I was like, listen, please, I got back from Iraq today. Can I please just have a beer? And she's like, I'm sorry, I can't serve you. And then I turned into a kid. I literally had turned 20 years old 3 weeks before I got back from Iraq, right? So just turned 20, dude. Almost made it like my entire deployment to and from Iraq being 19. Like, what the fuck? And so I just turned 20. So what do? I act like a kid. If I forgot my ID now and I tried to order a beer, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't have my ID. And they're like, sorry, I can't serve you. And I would probably be like, dude, come on, man. I'm 37. Like, I have wrinkles. Like, come on, man. I'm not 20, dude. And they'd be like, I know, but you know, it's our policy. I'd be like, right on. I understand. That's what I would do. That's what a man does, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm 20. I'm like, please, can I? And she's like, no. And then I was like, and then I just fucking turn into like this dark motherfucker, right? And I immediately like, oh, fuck it, right? Fuck, you can't give me a beer. Just fucking got blown up and blah. Like, but you're a kid. Like, nobody, it doesn't matter what the fuck you've done.
Nobody cares.
Right? Nobody cares.
At the end of the day, yeah. But we don't know that when you're a kid, you know?
You're a fucking child. So you start like, I start arguing, and my mom's like, Justin, calm down. And I'm not just like reacting. I'm fucking losing my shit, right? Like, I was fucking doing this, fucking this, that, 3 weeks. I can't get a fucking goddamn beer. Fuck that. And everyone's like, hey, Justin, calm down. And I'm just having a fucking moment. And I look back, and I used to say shit like, because they teach you in the Marines, like, hey, most people your age, they're still kids. But you're a man, good to go. And you're like, hoorah, like kill, right? And I don't know, man. It was fucking interesting, right? But yeah, that was the start of my
Adult life, yo.
adult life, right? And
That's wild,
fucking
man. How about bro? I had another friend of mine, a close friend. I had two really close friends get deployed, and then one of them, we lived together afterwards. Like after he did all his tours and stuff, and we kind of fell off when after he started doing his tours and stuff. Like we were hanging out a few times, and then we kind of like disconnected. I didn't see him for like 2 or 3 years. And I saw him. He was working in a Flanagan's like as a dishwasher. And I was so confused. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I mean, I found out later, but bro, he had some crazy. He was living in some guy's couch. And this guy was like my best friend growing up. So I'm like, yo, man, what the fuck is going on here? So I told him, like, yo, move in with me. I need a roommate. So I was like, I brought him in. And he was crazy because he had a girl. He got married right before he got deployed one time. He and them were like ended up getting divorced, you know, like one of those crazy stories. And it's crazy because he didn't have much, but he had like a lot of things, you know. Bro, he had like crazy PTSD, man. And he was working in a restaurant. And at the time, I was working in construction, so I never saw him. I would get out of work like at 5 o'clock, and then he would already go to work. And then he would just be out all night. But like, bro, he went missing one day. We don't see him for like 3 days. And I found out he was AWOL, bro, and he went crazy and he got arrested on the street, and then he got sent away to prison, you know. But when I went into his room to clean up his room, it was I never been in there, you know. Like it was crazy, bro. It was just like he had like holes in every single wall. There was like massive holes, and he just like put a poster to cover it up. He mashed up 2 metal doors, you know, like he had 2 in the closet. He had them like mashed up, bent, you know, and then like. So I could tell he was fucking suffering with a lot of demons, bro. You know, it's crazy.
yeah.
Everybody handles it different. That's what I was gonna ask you, right? You notice that everybody seems like you seem like so chill, but then some guys kind of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm cool now, right? And again, I want to preface this with like I didn't like I got in firefights and stuff, and I got in engagements, but like compared to some of the like fucking war dogs, dude, like I really haven't gone through a whole lot, right? And it's the same thing with fighting, right? Like. Oh, you like, you know, when you just start fighting professionally, you're like, you a fighter? You're like, I fight. And they're like,
Yeah.
amateur, like you just train, or you're like, nah, professionally.
Yeah.
Right? And then, like after you have X amount of fights or whatever, you've been beat up enough times. They're like, you fight. You're like, yeah, here and there. And then you're just kind of like, change the subject because fuck, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're nailing it right now, bro. That's my shit. I go do comedy. I wish I didn't have these ears. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. They're like, yo, you fight, and I was like, whatever, dog. Where it's like, when I was amateur, I felt like I'm like, how do I have way more confidence when I was a fucking amateur, like 3-0, like I'm the man, you know? And people don't know. The regular people don't know the difference.
That's what I'm saying, and it's the same thing with like, you know, combat and shit, dude. Compared to like Vietnam veterans, we didn't go through shit. But then there's some guys in Afghanistan that had it fucking rough. Then I have another buddy of mine that was in my platoon, stepped on an IED, lost all 4 fucking limbs. Now he has 2 arms that are from a cadaver, right? They move crazy. They grow nails. The other guy had tattoos. He has tattoos. It's like a fucked up mesh tattoo right here. Crazy, right? Crazy. And so what I'm saying is like, I can't sit here and be like, I'm the hardest. Like I am the representative of dudes that have been overseas and whatever. But to your point, yes, people handle it differently. And for me, it was jiu-jitsu really saved me.
Yeah.
And, jiu-jitsu is just shit, dude. I still fucking love it. But what's such an interesting thing is like, we're the same age, right? Like, I'm not the dude in the gym Monday through fucking Saturday anymore. And like, I'm just not. I'm a black belt, and I'm expected to help run classes, and I teach once a week. And I put my heart and soul into these classes, right? Like, I teach like shit that, like basic shit. A lot of it, like I'll have like 1 brown belt in my class, and like 2 purple belts, and then like 3 blue belts, and then the rest are all white belts, right? So like I'll show, all right, guys, we're gonna do a neon belly drill or whatever, cool. And I see that they're just displacing they're placing their feet all fucked up. And so I could just like, neon belly, let's go, have them drill and be like, all right, time, all right, next drill. Or I could be like, hey guys, I wanted to teach something from neon belly, but as I look around the room, you guys are all fucked up. So I'm just gonna show you how to properly use your weight. And like, just, so what I'm saying is like, I put my heart and soul into it, and I still love it. And you watch them train and you watch them hit the technique you just showed, and you're like, but I'm the dude, like, I don't fucking care anymore in terms of like, if I get subbed by like my boy that's still competitive, like he's fucking 27, right? 28. And he's like still active, fighting professionally. And he's just like, nobody fucking sweeps him in the gym. No one subs him.
Yeah.
Like the other day he caught me, he fucking put like his arm over my face instead of like getting my neck because I tucked my chin. And it just started hurting so bad. And like, I don't know, 5 years ago, I would have been like,
to the death.
and been like sore for a fucking week. But as he was doing it, I was just like, and then he's like, Mike, because we're boys, right? He's like, hey, my bad. Kind of a dick move, man. And I'm like, babe, I tapped. It is what it is. You know, I'm just like, so what I'm saying is like, as I get older, I love comedy. It's fucked up, but like, I love comedy more than I love fighting now. I just do. I just do.
Me too, dog.
Right? And because we're fucking 37, dude, like, what do you expect? And they're like, you want to fight in August? And I was like, maybe. And then they're like, yeah, man, what if we give you a guy that, you know, this, because I've always like tried to fight tough dudes, right? Like in earlier in my career, they'd be like, hey man, you can fight this other guy. He's 2-6, and I like, I just want to fight. And I was like, no. And they're like, okay. So they put me against a guy that's 4-0. I get fucking knocked out, right? Like, you know, and
now
so
I take the 2-6 to get a couple 2-6s to finish off the career, dog.
That's honestly where I'm at. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I want to do.
Podcast, right?
If I come back, dog, that's what I want. I want a fucking 2-6 just to get my fucking ego wet.
yeah, and so, like, what I'm getting at is they're even like, do you want to fight? And I was like, yeah, maybe. And they're like, what if we get you? Because like in my mind, I'm old. If you're 37, you're fighting, so you're old, right? And so,
yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I was like, yeah, you give me another old guy. And they're like, all right, what do we find you like another like 35-year-old? And I was like, yeah. And then on my drive home, I'm like, wait a minute. Man, like how I go drive home, like it's funny, right? Like I'm driving home. Anyway. So it's like I'm driving home and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, another old guy, another 35-year-old. I'm 37, motherfucker. That's younger than I am, bro.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, it's interesting because people now are like, you know, as I'm like, I feel comfortable, like I'm a fucking man now, right? People are like, where you been, bro? I'm like, busy, dude, doing comedy, doing mics, rescuing fucking turd dogs, fucking building a business, doing podcasts, like train 3 times a week right now, right? And if I take this fight, I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. I'd be training. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And like I feel like my life has not even begun yet, right? Like as you become a man, you're building a business, you're building a brand. But anything you do in life requires 100%. And if you want to fight, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And honestly, since 2017, dude, 2016, I've just been doing shit. And I'll take a fight like once a year and you're half in and you're half out. And, you know, I don't know. You kind of realize that through fighting. Like you got to be all in. Like when I fought for Bellator, dude, and I fucking won my fight. I was talking about this earlier. I did a podcast with Sheath, right? Sheath Underwear. And then, like I was saying that when I was at the peak of my career, I want to fight for Bellator and everybody loved me and was texting me and shit. And I was paying $400 a month to live in my boy's living room. And I was sleeping on a mattress and the dog like woke up one day and just looked at me and pissed on me as I was asleep. And everybody like, I'm done with my fight. And I get back to this room and I'm looking at my phone and all these women that don't talk to me ever are like, congrats on all your success and this and that. As I just won this big ass fight. And I'm laughing because everyone's success is winning a fight, but I'm living in some dude's fucking living room because you're all in. And I only made like $2,000 for that fucking fight, bro. Right. And so it was just, it's funny, dude. And they gave me like an 8-day notice, couldn't secure any sponsors. So like, but that's the grind and that's being all in. And now as you see behind me, I have a fucking house. I have a full-time job, right? I've got a mortgage. And it's just anything you do in life, you have to be all in. So you want to fight, you got to be all in. You want to do comedy, you got to be all in. And like, so that's why it's like, you got to find that balance as you get older. It's like, I'll train 3 days a week and I'll teach once a week. I'll pass on my knowledge and don't get mad when you get caught by a fucking brown belt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. This episode of the Honey Badger Hour podcast is brought to you by the Original Clippers Barbershop, located on 14227 South Dixie Highway. Make an appointment today. You can find them on the Booksy booking app or call 305-964-7882. More than 20 plus years in the game. And that's the Original Clippers Barbershop. Master barbers for a master fighter. For sure, man. I get lucky that I'm teaching right now. I'm still teaching full time, But honestly, my students are also new that I haven't even had a hard roll in so long, bro. Like that's the thing. Like I'm almost like I haven't trained. Like goddamn, a decent any decent blue belt will gas me out in a couple of minutes. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe by the second round, I got like 2 good rounds right now, bro. You know, but I'm trying to build my guys now, so I'm in a little process, but I'm in the same boat, bro.
100%.
You know. It's crazy the transition of fighting, man. So how did you get you got into the fighting and the jiu-jitsu? So jiu-jitsu from the military, and then that turned into fighting and MMA and stuff.
Yeah, to be real, I was thinking about this the other day. Do you remember, we're the same age, right? So like people now might not know him as much, but Razor Rob McCullough.
Yeah.
Fucking beast, dude. And what's funny, he's the reason I started fighting.
Where did he fight at? He fought in I'm trying to think now.
WC. He's WC champ.
Okay, yes. All right, that's right. The name sounds 155 or something, right? Like
yeah, 155. He's a bad
WC. So Donald Cerrone, Ben Henderson, Eddie Wineland, all those guys in their prime.
He fought Cerrone. It was one of the best fights ever. Like if you watch like their highlights, holy fuck! I think he lost the exchanges, but this is like peak fucking cowboy, dude. Like what's funny is he somehow was an old man in his career, still whooping that ass, right?
Yeah,
and,
bro.
Like peak fucking cowboy, and he was a beast too, bro. And he lost the fight to decision, but they're fucking, bro. If you watch that fight, honestly, one of the best fights you ever see is Donald Cerrone and Razor Rob McCullough just banging it the fuck out in gay porn. No, I'm just kidding. Now they're just banging out on WEC, right? Like such a good fight. Like I'm talking back and forth. But anyway, he's the reason I started fighting, right? Razor Rob McCullough. And what's interesting is I saw him fighting on TV one day, and I looked and I was like, I'm gonna do that one day, right? I don't even remember who he was fighting, but I remember just watching how cool it looked. And I was in the Marine Corps. It was like 2007. I was watching on TV, and I was just like, and so I did, right? And I checked the box. And years later, his wife, she's one of my friends, right? And so I saw that they were getting married, and I was like, holy shit! And then homeboy, of course, stalks me and sees that I post a bunch of stupid shit, starts following me, and he like sends me a message, and he's like, thank you for your service and all this. And I was like, fucking A, bro. And what's interesting is I ended up telling him like years later, hey, dude, this can sound kind of gay. You're the reason I started fighting. He's like, what the fuck, my man? And it's cool because you never know how you impact a human being by doing what you do in life, right? And so I've had people tell me, dude, I started fighting because of you, or I started training jiu-jitsu because of you. And I'm like, dude, you're fucking going further than I ever went. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's fucking dope. But yeah, I started in the Marine Corps, started fighting because I saw Razor Rob on TV, had a handful of fights, moved to Thailand, got done. And yeah, to be real, as I get older, I'm like, comedy was also an accident. Just like now, I did a podcast with his name is George Anthony, right? Funny ass dude. Him and Josh Cabaza. They both been doing comedy for 15 years, right? And that dude George Anthony was like, he's also Marine, right? He doesn't ever talk about it or post about it. He's also Marine. And he's like, I went to go watch him live at an underground comedy club. And I'm like, dude, you're hilarious. Like 4 years ago, right? And I'm like, you're so funny. Can I follow you on social? He follows me back. And then he's like, hey, bro, you're kind of interesting. You want to do a podcast? I do a fucking podcast with him. I'm myself. I'm raw.
In person? Like in person or like on the, like this?
Yeah, it was in person. The person invited me. And what's different and interesting is when you start doing comedy, before I started doing comedy, I had to be funny all the time. Like there's no outlet to be funny. And funny is trauma, 1,000%. You're like, I want attention. I want people to laugh at me. And this is me just being real. So I'd go to fucking Starbucks, and I still kind of do it, but not. I'd go to Starbucks, and I'm trying to make the person at the register laugh for some fucking reason, right? And what's funny is I used to jump on podcasts before, and I'd be like, be super funny all the time. Oh, you're hilarious. And I'd say the story. But as I do comedy now, I'm like, I don't know, be normal. You're fucking talking to a human being right now, right? And so it was one of those podcasts where they just were like, hey, you're an interesting dude. And I was just being funny the whole time. And he's like, hey, man, you know, you want to come to a creative writing session? They call it Dojo at the Blind Tiger Comedy Club in San Antonio. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll go. And then they go, everybody does time, but they're comics doing time, but it's not time. You're working a bit out. So you start talking, I've been saying this lately, this and that. And then the comic will jump in and be like, maybe try this tag. And everybody will start laughing. You're like, cool, I'm taking it. And it's dope as fuck, right?
Oh, shit. You can do that, right?
Right.
Damn.
Right. And it's sick. And so every week, in order to go up with the Blind Tiger, at least in your first, because I've been doing it like 4 years, in your first few years of comedy, if you're like you do not get on stage on Friday, and it's a midnight show, and you do not get on it until you fucking go to dojo every week, right? And it's sick. It really helps you develop, and it helps you actually write. And so he brought me, and then he's like, your turn. And I was like, what? And then I was like, what do I do? And he's like, go up there and say a story that you think is funny. And so I get up there, and it's all these comics kind of like leaning into their chair, like, who the fuck is this guy? But George brought him in. George's been around 15 years. And I say a story on like, man, let me see. Okay, I always tell people this story. I was in the Marine Corps, and I talk about like my first bit ever. And which is funny. It's evolved to like, it used to be like a 7-minute bit, and it's evolved to be like a 1-minute bit. And it's changed so much that like the basis of the story isn't even part of the bit anymore. Right. It's more just like a giant tag. And so, but yeah, I told that story, like my first bit ever, on like how you couldn't serve. Oh no, I didn't even say that part, but like the Marines is the gayest thing I've ever done in my life. Right. And like Marines are just gay, joking in nature. And so I talk about how like the drill instructor wanted to punish us one time. So he made us all get naked and threw us all in the shower, made us like squat up and down and like cover our dick and balls or we're covering our dick and balls. And he's like, put your hands in the air right now. And then he's like tighter. And he's saying, I remember just being like, what the fuck? And like, it's that's the gayest thing I've ever done in my life. Like dicks were literally touching my dick and you're like, ah. And then what's funny is like, you couldn't be gay and serve in the Marines. And I'm like, but ironically, that's the gayest thing I've ever done in my life. So I fucking told that story and everybody started laughing. And then the chick that runs it, Tori Poole, at the time, now we're good friends, but at the time I'm like this new kid. And then they're like, cool. And then normally everybody gets 4 minutes on Friday, right? Because there's a lot of comics. And so they're like, cool, Friday, you get 3 minutes. And I was like, what? And they're like, see you Friday. And then boom, everybody breaks up and everybody goes, and I'm like, what? And I kind of got like bullied into doing my first show. And I fucking hop on, and it's a real good room, man, in San Antonio. It's like underground. There's like a children's restaurant, and then there's a basement. And it's in the base. It's fucking sick, dude, to be honest. It's a good room. And so seats like 50 people, you know, like it's so sick. And so I run the light. I don't know what a light is, right? So they give me the light like a bunch, and I just keep saying my story. I'm like, there's a light, right? Yeah. And I run the light, and I get off stage, and then that chick Tori is like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like your set is so fucking unorganized, and I still got laughs and shit. She's like, dude, like super unorganized. You just went up there and you said your story and you got some laughs, but like, dude, you ran the light by like 2 minutes. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm so sorry. And they're like, cool, fucking next week don't run the light. And I was like, next week, and that's it, right? And now I'm fucking, you know, I've done a handful of shows, right? I fucking have one next month with at Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club again, right? I just did one with Tori and Davey Jackson, Tori Poole. And then I got one next month with this guy, Eddie Hernandez, funny as fuck. Been doing comedy 15 years. I'm going to open. So, you know, you kind of bite a little bit.
Yeah,
bite the bullet a bit. Yeah. And so and then I got one with a combat veteran is his name. He's doing like a comedy tour, real big, like millions of followers on social media. Reached out to him like, hey, you're coming to San Antonio. Give me a guest spot. And he's like, I'll just give you 10 minutes. Sign this contract. I was like, fucking dude. And so it all evolved and I kind of got bullied and it was all an accident into doing comedy. But the same high that you get from like a win, it's not as long lived, but like when you win a fight, you're like high for a week. Well, when you kill it on stage, you're high for like the night.
You're high for the night, bro. It's hard to sleep after, bro. It's crazy that you have a regular job and you're doing comedy because it's so it's so inconducive for both the things we do. You know, for jiu-jitsu and training, it's a crazy lifestyle. You know, being out in the bars doing comedy till 1 a.m, hanging out, and then for you, you gotta wait. If you gotta go to work a regular in the morning and doing these shows, you know, it's no joke, bro.
Yeah, it's but to be real, like I will earn my way out of salary. I'm 1,000% positive, right? And and it's happening. But it's not probably going to happen for a few years, and that's fine. So it's kind of like put your fucking time in, right? Like anything else, and invest in all this other stuff. Like today's my day off. They give us one random Friday off a month, and today's the day. And so cool. I woke up 10 a.m., did a podcast with Sheath Underwear, with the CEO of Sheath Underwear, right? .com, and did that. Had a 15-minute break, picked up a coffee down the street, doing another pod. right? And we were both investing in ourselves and in our brand, and like this is mutual, and we build each other, and we've never really had like a full conversation other than like chatting on social, maybe a couple videos back and forth. But that's the grind, and the grind eventually will become your job, as you know, in fighting. But it's obviously not easy. But even like I'm starting a brand, sta.primal.com, sta.primal.com. But
nice.
Anyway,
plug it up
like,
for sure.
Plug it up, and but I'm building this brand, and what's interesting is I've been so busy lately. My store has made only $396 a whole month, right? Well, here's the deal. Those sales were done in 2 days last week that I made 2 posts, right? So if you look at like the traction for the website, it's like 1 viewer this day, 0.00000, 2 viewers, 0.000, make a post, boom, boom,
Nice.
0.00000. So it's like, wait a minute, I make 2 posts and I make $396, but that's all I've made for the whole last month because I'm not investing and putting time in. And that just is a direct reflection of whatever you put yourself, like whatever you put into your bucket, it's going to pay dividends.
Yep.
But if you don't put anything in and you don't build and grind per se, which actually I hate that concept now, the grind, like, what are you grinding for? That's another realization that I've had. Because as a fighter, you're in love with the grind. I'm Ubering, I'm a door guy, I'm like, and you're just doing all the things. I'm teaching jujitsu, I have this other shit job, but I'm fighting full time. And you're like, the grind. And you're like, how about if I made the payout for the grind a lot higher? Yeah. How about grinding to get a degree and getting a fucking 6-figure income so I don't have to have all these shit jobs? And now my grind is, okay, now that supplemented all these other grinds. So cool, I've got this other grind, but now I'm trying to do this other thing. Well, now you got to put time into these other things. And then you can get rid of this shit. And then this is now your base. And then you're building a company. And then it's like, and you should always be leveling up. But people fall in love with the concept of the grind, not understanding that there is actually a bigger picture. And it's not, people, I feel like in today's society, everybody's like an entrepreneur, a fucking business owner. Everyone's got a fucking podcast, right? Like but people are in love with the concept of the grind, but they're not trying to fucking do anything with it. It's just, they just fall in it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like romanticized, right? To fucking just always be working hard, but there's really not a payout. And I realized that I was doing that. I fell victim to that for quite some time. And then one day you just wake up and you're like, I can't do this the rest of my life. Like, fuck no, I need something greater. And that's what I'm doing. And that is why I jumped on Naked and Afraid, right? I was like, oh, I can be on fucking TV. And then you better believe, yeah, like my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like,
no,
you better believe.
I wasn't saying none.
They were like the whole time I was like, fuck, I need like work in marketing. I'm like, I need a way to build myself and build my brand. And like, I don't have a brand. And I was like, fuck it, stay primal. And I was like, stay primal, stay primal, stay primal. Then I get out and fucking Liver King says, stay primal all the time. So I'm like, fuck, wait a minute.
That's right.
Like, wait a minute. STA, like stay primal, STA in the Marine Corps, stay platoon is surveillance and target acquisition platoon. That's what the original Scout Sniper platoon was, just spelled STA platoon, surveillance and target acquisition. And I was like, stay primal. I was a Scout Sniper in the Marines. sta.primal.com, right? And I just had to make a shift. But what I'm saying is like, that's why I jumped on fucking TV and I started myself and I lost 38 fucking pounds. And also to challenge myself. But I was like, yo, wait a minute. If I'm on TV, I'm going to get aired to 3.5 million Americans. Maybe one motherfucker sees something they like and wants to do business with me. Or it's given me so much opportunity. Dude, I headlined my first show because I was on Naked and Afraid. And they didn't say, funniest comment.
No, Luke was the one that told me about you, bro. That's how I started following you and stuff like that. Luke's like, yo, my boy's fucking doing comedy. And then, RIP, bro. How did you fight Luke back in the day in California or something? Or is that how you guys met?
I didn't fight. We trained at the same gym every Friday for years and years, man. God, man, I missed that motherfucker.
What gym was it at? What gym was that?
Subfighter MMA.
Subfighter. Oh, shit. Were you there with, what's his name was there too? His young kid. The Dutch kid, the Dutch touch. I forget. Eric. Did you know Eric?
Eric Bentley.
Yeah.
He's the homie, dude. He was my roommate for like a year.
The nicest guy, kid, bro. Man. I love that kid, man. He lived in Bangkok with Luke for like a year, bro.
I know. That's some fuck, man. Like, but yeah, dude, me and Luke were tight, dude. Like, actually tight. Like, not just like I knew him. Like, we were fucking tight, dude. So when he passed, it's like, even talking about it right now, I'm getting like emotions are rising up. And occasionally I'll even go to his Instagram, right? And I'll just fucking click on it and watch it, right? I'm getting all watery eyed, but like, he's a genuine human being, dude.
Genuine.
And,
That's the best word to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. He's real as fuck, and he's not the nicest guy, you know? None of the nicest.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Like, he was no room for bullshit for him, bro. It's exactly what it was. But if he loved you, he fucking loved you, dog, you know?
And I would hang out, bro. I worked at this place called The Shore, which is a shit show. They closed it down. But like some rich chick bought this bar and was like paying everybody like $20 an hour to be a door guy and tips, you know? So it was just like, what? Like normally they pay you shit, but you get tips. And they were just throwing money everywhere. And like everybody was doing coke in the break room and shit. And like, it was hilarious. And he like walked in the bar one time. He's like, hey, you know how he's like, hey. He's like, hey. And he's like, I didn't know you work here. He's like, hey, give me a job. Give me a job. So I get this motherfucker a job. Right, he like misses his first interview, and I'm like, God damn it, Luke! And he's like, sorry, dude, tell him, dude, come on, dude, tell him I was busy. So he shows up, and so I got him a job, and we worked together. And then one time for Halloween, they were like, he had to work Halloween, and so did I. So he's like, hey man, everyone's dressing up, show up in a costume. And I was like, are you sure? Ask if it's cool, because I'm gonna be checking IDs. And he's like, no, it's cool. So, and I have a picture of it somewhere on my Instagram, but I was like, okay, I don't have a costume. I'll go tonight dressed up. And I bought like Spanx, like spandex tights. They were like at Target. They were like the universe. And I put them on, and I bought like a Punisher t-shirt, and I cut the sleeves off, right? And I fucking was like, fuck it, why not? Go all out. Like I do everything else. I shaved my head into a mohawk. And then I bought like black boots, and I showed up to work at the shore. And I like show up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, everyone's dressing up. And Luke's just laughing. Nobody's dressed up. And I shaved a fucking mohawk. And I'm like, Luke, what the fuck? And he's like, ah. And he's like laughing, right? And he's like, no, I wanted to wear my costume. That's why I wanted you to do it. And I was like, dude, fuck you, Luke. Did you even ask him? And he's like, nah, dude. Like, and so he dressed up. He like put his outfit on, and like, that's one of my coolest memories of Luke. But like, we train at Gilbel. I don't know if you know Gilbel Jiu-Jitsu in St. Kenny. It was like a sick gym, dude. Sick, solid jiu-jitsu. And the guy won worlds in like 99, right? Paulo Gilbel, he's fucking good. But me and Luke trained there for like years and years every Sunday. And then after it was like our thing, we'd just like hang out all day. And man, it's funny, right? I'm going off on just Luke. But
no, go ahead, bro. I want to hear it, man. I would love to hear stories from him because I only met him, bro. I met him in 2014, you know? So it's like a different person, really, you know. And he's evolved just from the person I knew him, dog. He was my main corner man, bro. He was like, like same thing. I had that good connection with him, you know. He just felt comfortable right away. We used to live together in the same room in the gym in Singapore. So
right on, never mind. So I was gonna say you weren't in Cali training with him.
No. I met him when he moved to Asia. So aren't you the one that got him the plug of Asia, bro? This is crazy. You know Will from the military or something?
Not from the military. I was in Thailand.
Oh, in Thailand, yes.
2011, and what's crazy is Will didn't have any fights or experience. Now he's got like fucking 50 professional bouts, right? But at the time he was training.
He's got over 100 fights. Over 100. He might be like 130 right now, combat fights.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. And we follow each other on IG and all that. But I met him in Thailand, and I was training for like my first amateur fight, and this motherfucker just out the gate went professional.
Turn around.
I watched him. And I was just like, he just jumped in and he went professional. I remember I don't remember if he got beat up or not, but like I remember I was thinking to myself, like, he just started training here, and he was just like the guy that was like, I'm gonna make it and he fucking did it. He moved to Asia, and what's crazy is like we kept in contact over the years. We like chat back and forth, and my buddy Luke, like, you know, Luke hit me up one day, and he just hit me with like the depression of, I can't do this anymore. I'm in California. What am I doing with my life? I want to get the fuck away. I know you went to Thailand. I want to move to Asia. Do you have any contacts in Asia? And I'm like, I have one dude that might work. I connect him with Will, sync them on Instagram. Fucking Will takes them in. They live together, right? Because of Will, you meet Luke, and then it's full fucking circle. And we're back here on a podcast talking about, again, back to my point, you never realize how much of an impact you're going to have on somebody or vice versa, right? Will could have said, fuck off. I met you like for like a week or two, you know what I'm saying? And years later we connect, and it's a trip, dude. And rest in peace to Luke. Like he's a beautiful soul, man. And it genuinely hurts me that he's gone, right? You know, sometimes, oh, rest in peace. And like, that's one of the like, because dude, how it doesn't make sense. Like, how do you get cancer and pass from it? And you're like a professional fighter, right? You're a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I competed against Luke twice, right? I didn't want to.
Jiu-jitsu, that's what he told me. It was competing in jiu-jitsu. Oh, that's what he told me.
massive.
You were like his nemesis. You were his nemesis, dog. You guys were like rivalries in jiu-jitsu. And then you guys started training. That's why I thought fight. And that's what he, dog, he was talking to me about you on other, like, bro, he's told me about you before I started doing, because he knew I wanted to do comedy. I remember, dog, and the last time I saw him, I was like, yo, I'm going to move to America. I'm going to start doing comedy, dog. He looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, he was already fucking really sick, you know? And then he thought I was crazy, dog. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, yo, but we got it done, bro. Fuck. And then he's the one that told me, he's like, yo, my other friend does comedy. But he remember him I remember him telling me about you, bro, a long time ago, dog, about how, yes, that's right. So you guys compete against each other all the time in the tournament, like purple belt, right?
Yeah. And to be honest, I never beat him. And it was never like, he wouldn't sub me. But it was always, bro, like fucking like 4-5 or like fucking 0-2. And like, it was always just such
an advantage, like, you know?
Like when I would see him, he'd like look at me and he'd be like, but what's trip is like, I didn't really talk to the dude. Like we didn't really talk. We just would compete against each other. And I never fucking beat him. And dude, it was just, and then one day he's just like, hey, like come to Lightning MMA with like Joker back in the day. And he's like, come cruising into this gym, let's train. And I was like, all right. And I trained with him and we were such good training partner and we just fucking clicked. And even after the training, it was like, yo, fuck the training. Like you're a cool fucking dude. And he was my boy, dude, for like a decade, like really, really tight. And again, man, it's unfortunate, dude. Like when he was passing, I was like sending him messages like, hey, brother, like I was like trying to make him laugh. And he was saying shit like he wasn't even using complete sentences anymore. And he was like, I was like, bro, like if you recover, like I saw there's this new treatment that came out that's like killing cancer. And he's like, I'll be dead by the time it's approved. And I'm like, fuck. And then and he's like, I'm so skinny now. And then I was like, hey, doesn't Asia have a 115 class? And then it was like seen. And then like, you know, a few weeks later, I was like, hey, brother, just checking in on you. And I remember he had his dog, and I just hope the dog got taken care of. But, last message I ever sent to him was like, hey, brother, just checking in. It was like seen, and like he just never responded. And like 2 weeks later, just, you know, so rest in peace, man. That's one of my tight boys, very influential in my life. But again, like we have to live because, you know, they say that it's so cliche. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Like it's not, bro. It's not. And so, like, dude, live your life. Go fucking bomb on a stage, bro. Like,
exactly, dog. That's what I'm saying, dog. Go get tapped out. Bro.
Go get TKO'd. Go fucking get beat up in front of your friends and your family. Like,
it doesn't matter.
Risk it all, dog. Risk it all, because it doesn't always end up in your favor, but it doesn't always not end up in your favor. So fucking do it, dude. Do it, like, always. And that's where I'm at. That's why people, oh, man, it's crazy. You've done A, you've done B, you've done C. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. Like, why not? Like, why not? Like, why? Seriously, why not? What is stopping you? It's you. I would, but they're like, whenever people tell me, dude, how's Asia? Like, I've always wanted to go to Asia. You know what I start doing? I start telling them. I just start telling them, like, I've always wanted to go. And I'll literally tell people, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. And then they go, what do you mean? And be like,
yes.
Look, man, I could sit here and talk to you about Asia and like tell you all these stories. But like, in all honesty, I feel like I'm kind of wasting my time, because you're inquiring about Asia or whatever country, right? You're inquiring, but in all honesty, you haven't even done your own fucking research. So why should I sit here, waste an hour and a half of my time, try and convince you to go, and then you don't have the fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just kind of wasting my breath and they're always like, and dude, it's hit people before where they're like, and then fucking like 2 months later, swear to God, dude, one of those people hits me up like, hey brother, haha, thanks for the talk. I'm in fucking Colombia now. Fucking, you should meet me. I love it here. And I'm like, holy shit. And so all you got to do sometimes is just call people out. Like, I've always wanted to, just interrupt them. No, you haven't. Have you researched? You're full of shit. And they're like, and they'll do it, right? But that goes for ourselves too. Like, I say shit like, oh, I'm going to work on my brand. I'm going to do this. Look at your fucking account. 00000. The 2 days you do it, you get 400 fucking bucks. 00000. It's like, and do what you want to do, motherfucker. Like, what's stopping you? Yourself. You know?
Bro. 1000%. I used to always hear this all the time. I didn't start thinking this till recently, where people be like, "Oh, bro, I wish I can go to Thailand and then fight and do all that stuff." But like the day, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" I was like, "No, you don't wish, motherfucker," because I did it. I wish it, and I did it. I was like, "Listen, you didn't go to Thailand, but you got a job, you got a 401k, you got a house, you got a wife." I was like, "I did do that." You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, dog, 100%. You know, it's like 1000, bro. It's so true, man. You got to. Because you get it all the time. And I'm sure with you, bro, you've done a lot of things, bro. And this is why I started the podcast, man. When Luke passed away, I did this podcast in Thailand, started this shit like 4 years ago, a long time ago. And then I fell off. And then when Luke passed away, I was like, and this is something that's been in my back of my mind, like, I got to get that. Every day I wake up, I got to start the podcast again. And when he passed away, dog, since he passed away, I haven't missed a week ever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want, that's my goal. He's on my, and when I have, my studio's under construction, but in the regular studio, I have the picture of him right under the guest. So whenever I do a short or a video on the guest, they always have to see his face when he's cornering me. My favorite picture of us. You know what I'm saying?
I've got a random question because we're talking about like the same circles. The other Rosales, the other honey badger, little badger.
I met him.
So you're not related? Don't you have like the same last name?
No. Well, he's Rosales. No. But I think is he Mexican?
Never mind. Never mind. Not the same last name. Because he's little badger and you're honey badger. So in my mind, and you two follow each other, and I was like, wait a minute, because I cornered against him one time. He fought my boy. Fucking sick fight. My boy got fucked up, right? But like,
he's a gun.
What's up?
No, that kid's a gun. Luke told me about him when he first met him. He's like, and then Luke was just, he's like, yo, I got a badger in California. He used to tell each other about us because we have it's funny that his name's a badger because we have similar personalities too. He's an animal, you know.
So I thought you guys were like brothers for some reason.
Yeah, it made sense, dog. We're like the same. Yeah, no, 100%. I know what you mean. I haven't heard from him in a while though. He's been kind of quiet, right? He was kind of on a little run last time I saw, but I haven't seen much lately. Man.
He started following me after I did Naked and Afraid, right? Because they wrote articles on me and they were like, Jiu-Jitsu black belt fucking crushes it and all this shit. And he started following me, and what was interesting is like he was always one of those dudes that I would like say what's up to him, but then I cornered against him once. He fought my boy Mike Segura, who's my fucking boy who fought a few days ago. He fucking smashed, choked this dude unconscious. What's that?
What show was it that he fought? Just recently, like in Texas or in California?
California at the Commerce Casino. I don't know the name of it, but his name's Mike Segura, one of my best training partners in life in general. But what's funny is we've always had such a connection and a bond. And I asked him one time before the fight, who's your favorite fighter? Because when you corner, dude, a lot of it is technical, but so much of it is in a weird way. You can do this. Come on. Don't give up. Right. In a different
you're glorified way. You're a glorified fucking motivation man, you know, just hold the water.
So what did I say to him? I said, who's your favorite fighter? And then he said, at the time, he was like, Carlos Condit. And I was like, right on, just asking. And so I don't know how the fuck I'm going to use that information, but I asked him right before, like in the room as he's warming up. So I was like, bet. And we go out there and I could see he fought. So this is all tying back to Rosales. He fought Jacob Rosales and he just never pulled the trigger. And he just kind of sat back and allowed Jacob to just do his thing. And it was fucking bloody, bro. It was a bloody fucking mess. When we got back to the end, which people don't see this kind of shit, my boy Segura, his nose was broken. He was bleeding everywhere. And as they were plugging his nostrils to like stop the bleeding, he just sat there with his hands out, like defeated. And he just looked up at everybody and like nobody said a word. It's like he's all beat up and like, no, you know, when someone loses, a very dark moment, but you're dark with them. And fucking Segura, like I'm getting like emotional talking about this. Like Segura just fought Rosales and he just put his head down. And he just started fucking crying and crying and crying. And my coach was like, let it out. And in my head, I was like, wow, you cry? Like I was going through shit, you know, but I was like, you cry? Like nobody cries. And I just stayed quiet. And he cried a ton. And then he looked up. He's like, all right, I'm good now. Right. And so it was such a beautiful fucking moment of learning. But what happened is he just didn't pull the trigger the whole fight. And like Mike is my boy. I would say this to his face. Right. And we're super fucking close. And so what's crazy is he was doing the same shit and I was cornering him for another fight. And he was being a little hesitant. And for some reason, he said Carlos Condit was his favorite fighter. So like he smacked the dude and then he wasn't capitalizing. He smacked him. Homeboy's wobbling. It was like a fucking King of the Cage fight or some shit. And I remember just going, like, what else do you say other than like press or move forward or like take this. But instead, I was just like, Carlos Condit, and then he just snapped and he just ran, smacked dude, fucking dropped him, guillotined him, got the tap, right? Beautiful. And after he's like, dude, when you said that Carlos Condit is such like in his prime was just like he was just a killer. He was a fucking murderer. He would just go forward. He wouldn't even like create a ton of angles. He would just like move forward. He would work angles when he was pressed, but he was a murderer, dude. And so he said, dude, I literally pictured Carlos Condit fucking someone up. And then that moment happened. Cool, right? He sent me a message the other day. There's a screenshot of the overhand right and both opponents dropping. And he actually hit the exact same thing. He smacked him, dropped him, hit the same guillotine and put the dude to sleep, right? And he put the two photos next to each other. He didn't post it. And he sent it to me and he goes, fucking crazy, dude. He won the fight. The first fight was in 2016, I believe. And 2023 wins the fight in the exact same moment. And he said that right before he did it, he just said to himself, Carlos Condit. And he smacked him. And he's like, I didn't even think about it. It was like muscle memory from a previous competition, right? Executed, got it done. And he sent me the message and he's like, bro, what's so fucking crazy is I was thinking Carlos Condit the whole fucking time. And he's like, in a weird way, you were with me, brother. And I feel like fighters never really accept the credit so much themselves. Anytime you win, you're like, it's not me, it's all my coaches. And that's just from getting beat up and being humble and shit, right? But man, this whole fucking, I'm ADHD, that's how my brain works, right? Which is probably why I'm on the podcast. But like, this all started with like Luke, sing circles.
Yeah, Luke, dog.
Honey Badger, Little Badger started calling me. And what's crazy is we'd always be kind of weird with each other. Like since then, not in the malicious way, like when you're both fighting competitively, you're like friends with other fighters you see in rooms, but you're not like their fucking homie because you might coach against them or, you know, you're cordial, you shake people's hands and you're all in the same shit. But once like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to fight again. I mean, if I do, right on, I do, right? I fight another old dude. But like, once you leave that space, you see past all that shit. You don't give a fuck anymore, right? And what's crazy is he started following me on Instagram. I followed him back immediately. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, and again, no hard feelings. Like, you know, you corner against somebody.
You know? Yeah.
There's guys I've trained with that cornered against me, and like after the fight, like I get fucking beat up, and I walk up to them, and they're like, "No hard feelings, brother. It's the game." Like CJ Vergara, right? Fucking UFC got fight of the night here recently. I've trained with him multiple times. I fought recently, or like a year ago ish. Not even it was less than that. But
your fight, you just fought recently, right? Like you fought like within the last year, right? You made like a little.
Yeah, it was last year, but like yeah, I got fucking caught at the end, and then CJ walks up to me. He's like, "No hard feelings, brother." Like I've trained with him multiple times. We're boys, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, you know, like it's and so it comes with that maturity. You know, maybe I would have thought that was weird, like at 25 or whatever.
Yeah,
this whole started.
Yeah, that's how the game. That's how the game is, bro. The MMA community is a small community, especially if you're fighting in your town. If you know, you guys are gonna fight each other. You're gonna train with each other later. You know, like Luke fought a really close training partner of mine, a guy that I came up with in Thailand, one of my teammates in Thailand. And then Luke ended up fighting him, and I went with Luke to go corner against my boy. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, I went with Luke. I was at the corner man pass and shit. But then he just had his other boy because like I didn't want to go in the cage with him. You know, I was like, yo, I gotta like kind of stay out, but. He knew what was up. You know what I mean? I was there. Like, we were living together in Singapore, so we went to Thailand together. And then that's when he ended up fighting my boy, like, in this crazy-ass fight, you know? Yeah, bro. R.I.P., man. I think about that motherfucker every day, bro. And, like, yeah, whenever, like you were saying, bro, exactly, I'm in the same mode, man. Ever since we were really tight. And it's crazy, bro. I wish, you know, you don't know how long somebody's going to be in your life for. You know, I met him real late in life, bro. What's crazy is I'm back in Miami, and, bro, a lot of my friends here, like... They don't even know that I lost, like, the best friend I ever had, dog, and they didn't even know who he was. He was just in my life for 8-9 years, bro. It's crazy. Yeah. I wish I would have known, dog. I would have done so much fucking... It sucks, man, but that's life, doggy. You know how it is, man. It's crazy. Bro, The Naked and Afraid, man. So how long were you on that series for?
It was just 21 days.
21 days. Okay. And it's not... You don't get kicked off or nothing, or you got to last as long as you can last?
It's 21 days, just finish. And you could quit whenever you want. And it sucks for sure. And I lost 38 fucking pounds.
Bro, you were so skinny, dog. Holy shit.
But it was like a weight cut for me.
Yeah.
I lose 35 pounds when I fucking fight. And so what I did is they tell you 2 weeks before, all right, you're leaving in 2 weeks, here's your plane ticket. So now I know where I'm going. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I just stopped training. I was having like beer for lunch, like beer and pizza, like at noon. Didn't train, blew the fuck up. and then lost 38. I was 142 when I was done. And I was like, at the time, I was like, yeah, that's not that bad. I think I fought, hold on. I fought in February. I cut down it was a catch weight at like 140. I was small as fuck. So I fought in like February, or was it 135? I don't remember. But like, I was small, bro. I think it was a 35, and I like got really small. And then I came back I fought in February, went on a trip, blew back up. And then in May, they're like, you want to go on Naked and Afraid? I was like, fuck, I just like fucked my body up, bro. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I did it. And it's funny because when I cut to 135, it was a 35. When I cut to 135, I dropped down to 142 the day of the cut. And I wake up and I cut 6 pounds. It's fucking hell. And I did it. But what's crazy is I was on Naked and Afraid. And when I weighed myself, I was laughing. I was like, that's literally my breaking point. Like I was exactly the same weight when I fucking wake up for a weight cut.
Yeah. Yeah, you fought at 135?
Yeah, dude, somehow I'm like fucking
That's massive because you competed against Luke, and jiu-jitsu Luke used to be a lot heavier, dog, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. My man, anyways, my brother, I had a blast talking with you, man. I could fucking talk to you all day, bro. You're staying in Texas right now? Oh, man, I had to want to tell you about Kill Tony, bro. How far are you from Austin?
1 hour.
Okay, so you could just pop in.
Hour and a half.
Oh, that's not bad at all, bro. You go every Monday? Do you go sign up for Kill Tony?
Every fucking Monday. Never gotten on.
Fuck. How long you been going for? Since you've been back in Texas?
Bro, I've gone over 20 times.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. It's crazy. And then you got in both rooms, the Volcom and here. Volcom and the new one.
The Comedy Mothership.
How's the Comedy Mothership? Comedy is really dope club?
I don't know. I've never been inside.
You've never been inside?
No.
You do comedy when you go to Austin? You get on shows there, right? And you get booked and stuff?
Yeah, like smaller ones. I've done like Creek and Cave, and I did like, it's like a barbecue venue, but it's like, actually they've got an area for stages, like not Rudy's. I don't remember anyway, I did one at like a barbecue spot up there, which they do shows there. And then I've done Creek and Cave. I've done Creek and Cave's mics several times. They have like Sunsets, open mic. And then every week I sign up for Kill Tony to jump on Comedy Mothership. I used to go to the Vulcan and get inside because they used to have us all inside. Like, and it was different because you used to like watch the show and be like, oh, I'm going to do a callback. But it was also different because every comic has an autistic bit. Like, I've recently been diagnosed with autism, right? And so fucking, you're up there and you're watching, and then everyone's got their minute. And they're like, I'm autistic. And you're like, fuck, now I got to change my bit, right? And so.
I got you.
But now you don't know because now you're all in an alley and they just call your name. So it'll be funny if the guy right before is like, oh, I'm autistic. And then you go up and you don't even fucking know. You know, I don't know.
Got you. Yeah, it could be like where they view. Sometimes if you hear what the people say, it kind of affects what you're going to say, which is kind of fucks you up in comedy. That's happened to me before, you know, for sure.
Or you can do a callback. Or right before you, somebody does a whole autistic piece. And to be real, this is what I do because my brain's everywhere. I wear a watch that my grandfather gave me. Well, I inherited it when he passed. It's a sick Rolex. And what I do is I'll write one line per bit. So if I'm going to do 30, my whole fucking hand will be filled out. And I write one line is like 4 minutes, right? Boom, 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 boom. And so what I do is I get up there and I talk. And if I don't know where the fuck I'm going, I'll be like, let's see. And I'll like act like I'm looking at my watch, but I'm looking at my fucking hand, right?
Dog, that's my biggest problem. I don't know if it's the CT or the concussions and the heavy fucking savage life, but bro, if I could just put what's in my brain, if I could say it properly on the microphone, that's the game right now. Especially on stage. I'm hosting now a lot, so which is good. Hosted last night. I did like a main show first, and then I host the open mic. But it's like the oldest show in Florida, you know. So it's good. I'm getting my feet wet, and it's like the Terror Dome in there, you know. It's like a real slaughterhouse, but it's good experience, man. I'm getting a lot of time now, you know. I get like my 10 minutes, and then I'm bringing up 20. Like we had 24 comics on the open mic that I brought up yesterday, you know. So it's fucking long nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I love it, man. I love this shit.
You got any shows coming up now? Where can people find you in Austin? What do you got? Or in Texas? What do you got coming up soon?
So like I've got Blind Tiger tonight. I got the midnight, and then there's a paid show tomorrow at 9 p.m. at Blind Tiger. Dude, honestly, I'm terrible at organizing. The only big ones that I know that are coming up, I've got Laugh Out Loud. Don't even know the date. At some point next month. Laugh Out Loud is the big comedy club in San Antonio. And then I don't even know the venue yet, but I just got sent the contract yesterday, also for next month, with a combat veteran. Is his name on social medias? He's hilarious, dude, and he's got like millions of followers.
No way, nice.
Yeah, and so like I'm doing a show with him. Other than that, there's a lot of these shows, as you know, they kind of pop up. Like, what are you doing Saturday? Like yesterday, I was at a mic and I got offered a show in New Mexico. He's like, dude, I'm leaving at 4 a.m. You want to go and fucking headline or not headline, feature for me? One of my guys just dropped out. I want to leave 4 a.m. Dude, let's do it. I'm going, coming back. I'm like, you're gonna drive 8 hours today. I'll fucking pay you. And I'm like, but I'd already scheduled like this podcast, another podcast, and today's me. Today is like I'm building myself, right? And so I was like, dude, I'm gonna have to pull back. His name is Al Gonzalez, also Marine. He's been on like Comedy Central and done tours all over the world and stuff. And man, I had to pass it up. But so a lot of these opportunities are either last minute or like 2 weeks out. So all I've got right now is Blind Tiger Comedy Club tonight, tomorrow night, and then I post everything on my socials, right before.
Awesome, bro. And you got the website going, and what are you selling on their website, sta.primal? Let's plug that up runtime. Is it already up and running? I'll put the website here on the podcast when I edit this up for you.
STA, so it's without the sti.primal.com. Definitely working on the website. It's not branded the way that I would, like, because I'm building everything in my Shopify, and some of the models that I'm using right now are like not very on brand for me per se, but it's going. It's like it's a start, right? The website looks pretty decent, but there it is, right? But I just need to put more work in is all it is. So we're hanging up here. I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to walk my animals, take them to the park. And then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to
grind. You're going to grind. That's the grind, bro. Sometimes you don't realize it. Sitting down and getting on the computer and focusing and just turning everything off and doing what you get done. There's so many distractions today, dog. I'm in the same boat. I got the podcast. I got the comedy. I'm making merch. I'm trying to sell these shirts. And it's like, I go to work on the website for the shirts, and then I get an Instagram message, and then I'm fucking like 2 scrolls later. Now I'm looking at booty, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the distractions are next level, dog. So it's like that focused for sure, man. It's no joke.
100%, dude.
My man. Hey, Justin, my brother, I really appreciate you taking the time, man. We've been talking for a while now. I don't want to be taking up too much of your stuff, man. Yo, thank you for coming on the Honey Badger Hour, brother. Fucking, we got to talk about my boy Luke, man. I know I've been following you for a long time, so I'm glad we got to touch bases, man. It's been great.
Like, although this is just like a podcast, it was more just like we just had a conversation. I actually got to know you a lot more, so it's dope.
Yeah, exactly, bro. That's what I love about these casts. I always feel good when they're done. I always get like good energy from the guests. I just learned so much from this, and I like when I edit it and I re-listen it. That's when I can really take it in and learn. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yeah, you're putting a lot of gems. I'm going to clip it up, and I'll get this ready. Probably have this out like in a week or two, bro. So we'll be rocking and rolling, my man. Hey, Justin, we appreciate the time, my brother. Have a great night. Honey Badger Hour. We're out.
We're out. Later, dog.